Yes, everybody. Hope you are safe and well. It's Russ of the West Ham Network. Nice to see you. Nice. Don't know where that's come from. Anyway, it's Monday. England's not coming home, but pre-season starts properly today as we have our first pre-season match. It's kicked off. We'll do a little review afterwards of that. But it's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Few stories. Now, at lunchtime, we did the Rusty Rumour rating, the original Rumour ratings, with all my poor with all my poor diction and trying to go through all the random foreign players as well. I know my pronunciation is not that good, and I do apologise, but it keeps you amused more than anything. But loads of I think we've hit the same number we hit last year in terms of, I think it was 164. I think it was. I will double check, but we're pretty much there or thereabouts. We've only been open for a month officially. But today we're going to concentrate on the current squad ins and outs. Let's start. Who should we start with? Let's start with Cam Schweier. We are obviously, let's take off that as well. Now Cam is an under 21 forward. Obviously, the likes of Divine, he left. Obviously, we still got the likes of Callum Marshall, Josh Ajala from the under 18s. I could see maybe stepping up into the 21s, and Cam as well. I mean, obviously, we let guys like Jerry and Mulu go as well. But what was quite interesting at the weekend, Cam was actually playing. He was on trial at Gillingham. And it was against Millwall, ironically. So he was given a chance to take a closer look at the 21-year-old. He spent times with him in the early days of pre-season this week or last week, and spent the first half of the Saturday's friendly against Millwall. He's on trial. Maybe it is. I don't think it's as a permanent, but maybe a loan deal, because he was on loan to Crawley Town at the first half of last season, and did very well there. So, I mean, the Gillingham boss, Mark Bonner, he said it was good for us to have a couple of days with Cam. West Ham gave him permission to come in for a couple of days and train. Good for us to have a look at him before we make a decision on whether we do anything on that one and whether he wants to do it. So, could be a loan mill. I would not think it. Well, I don't know. He's sort of, Cam's at age now where he needs to be doing one thing and the other, and I think he's 21 now. I don't think he's going to make the first team at West Ham, to be perfectly honest. Good player, but industrious player. I just hasn't got that. You're always going to get good. He's always going to try his hardest, but maybe that star quality. So maybe it might be a permanent deal to Gillingham, or it might be a loan, maybe with. See at the end of the next season. I don't know. But it was interesting to see at the weekend he was already doing his pre-season. Who else? Who else are we going to talk about? Let's stay with the under 21s and talk about Luizao, the forgotten Brazilian man, the man who started our Brazilian sort of journey. Thanks to Rob Newman. He hasn't played a minute of first team football at West Ham, and was actually injured towards the end of last season anyway. But it looks like there's going to be some movement on him in this summer transfer window. Fluminense and RB Bragantino are both eyeing Luizao with the Hammers, apparently now open to a loan deal and a loan exit this summer, according to UOI, the Brazilian website, reported at the weekend that both South American clubs have asked about a possible loan deal, but haven't made official offers just yet. We spoke about the Turkish side, Antalyaspor, whose new manager worked with Luizao when he was in the under-21s in Brazil. So he was also interested. I think West Ham would want to prioritise a deal with a European club rather than going back to Brazil. If it was a loan deal, if it's a permanent deal, it's different. But for a loan deal, so we can keep tabs on him. I think he needs to do that. He needs to go out on loan and play. I don't think under 21s is helping him at all. He's actually recovering from a fibula injury at the moment. When I've seen him, it's been all right. Haven't been overtly impressed by him. There's glimpses, but there's still. He always seems very anxious on the ball, which surprised me for a Brazilian player. But again, we'll see what happens in terms of the loans. I think what we're going to do is see a lot of 2 or 3 weeks' time, a lot of players going out on loan, a lot of the academy, once it's been deemed who's going to stay, who's going to go, or who's going to go out on loan, who's going to stay and be involved in the 21s, and possibly moving up to the first team. Obviously, people like Freddie Potts, George Earthy, Lewis Orford, Caelan Casey, Junior Robinson. They're all over in Austria at the moment training. So gives Lopetegui a real good opportunity to see these guys firsthand, and then there'll be decisions made about what's their future for this season is going to be. And Louise, I'd imagine, is one of them as well. Speaking of Lopetegui, there was an article that an interview that JWP did in the last couple of days, which I think gives a real interesting take on internally the thoughts about the new regime. And JWP, he came across really excited about the new style of playing under Lopetegui. He was quoted in saying, "You can tell from the manager that he's got a winning mentality, so I'm sure he wants to win all the games, including this game." He was in reference into the game today. We've got lots of young players with us as well. It'd be a good experience for them to get some game time and impress the manager. As long as we do things we've been working on, we will come away with a positive end to the trip. Obviously, the trip being in Austria. In terms of new signings, they settled in well and really good lads. That's one thing I like when I joined the club, that everyone is really kind and engaging, and it's been good to spend the week with them, really integrate them into the squad and make them feel as comfortable as possible. Obviously, that's in reference to Luis Guilherme, Wes Fodringham, and also Max Kilman as well. And then in terms of being asked about the Lopetegui style of play and the sort of the vision he's sort of seeing in training, he said it's really enjoyable. It's an exciting style to play, and it's a very modern way of playing. And you can sense from the players that they are really enjoying the work. It's aggressive, it's full of energy, and some hopefully good stuff in possession. There's lots to build on. So again, that's really encouraging to see. I appreciate it's via the website and the club website. I'm not going to slag the manager off, but you see that we've had Aaron Cresswell, Danny Ings, all of them sort of senior pros have all come out quite positive or very positive in terms of the new style that we're playing, and because they get a sense in pre-season. These guys have been doing pre-season for years, so they know, and obviously new managers coming in and new styles. So it's encouraging to see. I'm really excited about this season and what we could achieve. And obviously, as we all are, as most West Ham fans are, it's every season we think, this is our year. But then we'll see what happens. Talk is cheap, as Brian Clough says. You don't win football matches on paper. Let's see what happens. And let's see what happens today as well. Let's see some good passages of play. Let's see that it looks like something different than what we've been used to. Even if it's exciting, I appreciate there's not going to have all the international players there. But let's see something which the fans can take heart to, particularly there's a lot of pissed off English fans today, to be honest. So it'd be nice to have something to cheer about for the West Ham lot. And talking about something that probably won't have something to cheer about, according to Ruben News TV journalist Julio Miguel Neto, Paqueta is now doing his level best to help facilitate a move to Flamengo for at least one season. Neto was quoted as saying the midfielder continues to help and make an effort to secure a transfer for at least a year on loan to the Rio de Janeiro club. Now, we know the 26-year-old began his career at Flamengo, so it's not a huge surprise that he might want to return to his boyhood club eventually. However, considering the support the Hammers have been giving him, particularly during his trial, I find it somewhat very ungrateful if that's the case. I don't know if it is or not, but for when a journalist comes out and says that, you take note and you can take it with a grain of salt. We know Tim's out there. We know Tim is out there to talk to Lewis. Who's Lewis? Talk to Lucas about where his head's at. Maybe talking to Flamengo about a deal. It won't be a loan deal. it won't be a loan deal. It can't be a loan deal. And Flamengo ain't got no money, so I don't know how it's going to work. He might be talking, and apparently he's also talking about Wesley Kosovo with Corinthians and stuff like that. But trying to force a move away from London Stadium, is it return the favour of all the support that the club have done? Even when the first allegations were, they could have banished him to the reserves, but they didn't. They put an arm around him. They looked after him, and even on that first Tuesday back from the pre-season when Lopetegui and Steidem were doing the press conference, and Lopetegui was basically saying how he's been through a lot. We're a family. I can't see it really. I mean, he'll have friends out there. He'll have probably people still associated with the club. I get that, but I just can't see it. I cannot see it. But if you can see it, let me know in the comments below. And that's it, my friends. As I said, we'll do a little, probably do a little roundup once the game's all finished, to give you our thoughts. Might do it as a slightly bigger show, maybe, in terms of understanding where we are at a pre-season. Until that time, don't forget to check out needsmybrand.com for the latest news, reviews, and opinions. According to Claret & Hugh, things are going to start making headway. Again, in terms of our transfer signings, now the Euros of the Copa America have finished. Although Duran was on the bench, wasn't he, for Colombia? He didn't come on, I don't think. But anyway, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Keep the faith, my friends, and I'll see you guys very soon. Much love. Bye-bye.